cranberries and mushrooms, each one more beautiful than the next. Some of our film stars end up in the frying pan after their giant stature is captured forever on film. Apparently, we are not the only ones interested in the fruits of the forest in this lush wilderness. Someone has laid out mushrooms on the sunny branches, obviously to let them dry. We find dried mushrooms all around, and the spruces are decorated like Christmas trees. We are interested in the owner of these stacks, and it doesn't take long until we surprise the gourmet. The red squirrel is a specialist in crispy dried mushrooms. Red squirrels, which are close relatives of the European squirrels, are numerous in the Canadian forests. Their realm is at the top of the countless trees. You can clearly see that the animal enjoys the short mushroom season. It prolongs the edibility of its delicacies in preserving the mushrooms by drying and stockpiling them. Even in southern Canada, the harsh winter is long. Nevertheless, the red squirrels do not hibernate, they prepare for the cold season. However, they do not live on dry mushrooms in winter. The red squirrels feed mainly on the seeds of conifers, spruce, and pine cones. And these cones are also properly handled by the squirrels. In order to retain their food quality for a long time, the red squirrel cellars the cones. The underground labyrinth dug by the squirrel itself has room for many thousands of cones. For the time being, the pine cones are still stored above ground, piled up to a mountain. If the red squirrel would store its cones dry like mushrooms, the cones would quickly dry out and lose the nutritious seeds. This is why the animal takes the cones from the stockpile to the damp cellar in good time. Throughout the summer, the red squirrel gathers for its own winter stock. From time to time, our red squirrel lets out its territorial call so that the neighbor can recognize who owns this stockpile. Loudly and possessively, it defends its stock. The cones of coniferous trees are the main food source for the many squirrels of the Canadian forests. Actually, it's only the tiny seeds that are hidden in the cone. The red squirrel bites off the woody covering scales with its sharp teeth. The underlying seed plates are then getting transported into the mouth with the tongue. Since the seed yield is very small in relation to the size of the cone, it is not surprising that a red squirrel has to crack up to 200 cones per day. The easiest way for the red squirrels would be to stay in a pine tree all day, opening cone after cone. But since they are little gourmets, they frequently change trees to take the main course in the form of spruce seeds right after a pine cone starter. And again we can hear the territorial call. Red squirrels have fixed territories, and the trees in them must not be harvested by other squirrels. In search of food, the animal climbs skillfully in the treetops. Its bushy tail serves as a balancing pole. With this amount of cones, our red squirrel is spoiled for choice. The cone is bitten off, and the squirrel begins to chew off the woody scales while sitting comfortably on a branch. The cute little animal works precisely and fast like a machine. The upper scales just fly wild while the red squirrel works itself through the cone. Under these scales, the actual seeds are hidden. From time to time, the squirrel also gets an oak apple, a tissue growth on the tree caused by the sting of an insect. Whether it is an oak apple or a cone, it throws away the woody and edible pods. After the squirrel has eaten its fill, it looks for more cones, which it throws off the tree in a high arc. It is harvesting for its winter supply. On the forest ground, the squirrel looks for the cones it has thrown down. With its very well-developed sense of smell, the little animal quickly finds food in the tall grass. The eager squirrel seems to be already hungry again. Otherwise, it would certainly not open another cone here on the ground.